All right, hey guys, so we are learning lesson 10-2 today, talking about histograms. Watch the video, take notes, make sure you have those notes. You can use those on your test, and then complete the homework check. So lesson 10-2 today, lesson 10-3 tomorrow. Monday next week will be a review for the test, and then your chapter 9-10 test will be on Wednesday. All right, so let's get going. Okay, so lesson 10-2 starts on page 463, and today's date is the 6th. 5-6. All right, a frequency table displays the frequency of data. And the frequency just means the number of time an item occurs. If you do something frequently, that means you do it a lot. Today we're talking about histogram, but a histogram is going to use a frequency table. So that's why we needed to understand what a frequency table was. We're going to look at an example of a frequency table, and we're going to make and look at examples of histograms. A histogram is a bar graph that shows the frequencies of data values in intervals of the same size. So a histogram is a bar graph, and it shows frequencies of data values in intervals, and they're the same size. The difference between a histogram and a bar graph is the histogram, the bars touch. And in a bar graph, the bars do not touch. And we'll talk about that throughout our examples. So the frequency table shows the numbers of laps that people in a swimming class completed today. So this is an example that we're going to work through. The frequency table, this is the frequency table, shows the number of laps that people in a swimming class completed today. Display the data in a histogram. So, number of laps 1 to 3, 11 people did 1 to 3. 4 to 6 laps, 4 people did that. 7 to 9 laps, no people. 8 to 12 laps, 3, or 13 to 15 laps, 6 people. So that's a frequency table. It displays the frequency of data. How often, how many people did 1 to 3 laps? How many people did 4 to 6? So this displays. And now we can use this in a histogram, make a bar graph, and make sure that it has our intervals the same size and our bars are going to touch. So still following Sultan as we make our histogram. Okay, so let's make a histogram. Our title would be laps completed or number of laps. Okay, I hope I made this big enough. I need to go from 0 to 11. So I'm going to count by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That should work out nicely. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay. Now my histogram intervals are going to be, this is the frequency, number of people, frequency. To label that. My intervals are 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 9, 10 to 12, and 13 to 15. And these are number of laps. Make sure that's focused for you. Okay. Now I'm going to just draw a bar. So 1 to 3 laps is 11 people. So I'm going to go all the way up to 11. Four to 6 is 4 people. So go all the way up to 4. 7 to 9 is 0. 10 to 12 is 3 people. Go all the way up to 3. And 13 to 15 is 6 people. Go all the way up to 6. So the intervals are the same size, the bar graphs are the same size, or the bars, and you see that they touch. You can color this. You can see that they touch. You don't have to color it. But that's an example of a histogram. It shows the frequencies of data, how often intervals occur, and of the same size. So how many people swam less than 10 laps? If we answer these questions now using our histogram here, how many people swam less than 10 laps? So that means fewer than 10. Here's 10 laps. Less than 10 would be this section and this section. This section had 4 people. This section had 11. So 15 people, PPL, people. How many people swam at least 10 laps? Now remember, at least means 10 or more. So at least 10 or more. How many people swam 10 to 11 laps is 10 to 12. 13 to 15 is 6. So then that's 9 people. So you can use your histogram to answer questions too. Okay, let's do another example. Why don't you go ahead and try and do this example, and then we can check together. So it's ages of people riding a roller coaster. Here's the age, and here's the frequency. So go ahead and pause the video, make your histogram, and then come back and check. Okay, so to make your histogram here, make sure you have a title, riding a roller coaster. Okay, and then over here is my frequency. So on a histogram, you're always going to have frequency over here. I need my frequency to go all the way up to 16. So maybe I can count by 2s again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Oops, 16 is going to run right up to my title. That's okay. All right, and then down here is going to be age. You can look at your frequency table in order to get that title. Here will be age to get that unit. And then I can do my intervals. 10 to 19, 20 to 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59, making sure that those spaces are equal. Okay, 10 to 19 goes all the way up to 16. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16. 20 to 29 goes all the way up to 11, so in between 10 and 12. Touching, histogram, it touches. Difference between histogram and bar graph is that you have the intervals and that the bars touch. 30 to 39 goes up to 5. There we go. 40 to 49 goes up to 2. 50 to 59 goes up to 4.
Sorry.
Okay, sorry about that. Back at it. All right, and then 50 to 59 goes all the way up to 4. Okay, so there's an example of a histogram. Now let's answer questions based on that histogram. How many of the people are at least 30 years old? So 30 or older. Pause and answer. All right, so let's check. This one was 5, this one was 2, and this one was 4. So that's 7 plus 4 is 11 people. What age range has the most people? Well, that's going to be the most frequency, the highest bar, which is here. That age range is 10 to 19. So you can use this to answer questions. You can also see how many people rode the roller coaster. Like how many people did we survey to gather this information, to gather these ages? Let's add up all the frequencies. So we have 16, 11, 5, 2, and 4. So 16 and 11, 5 and 2 and 4 is 11. 6, 7, 8, 38. So we surveyed in this one 38 people and asked, hey, what's your age as they rode this roller coaster? There was a total of 38 answers that we got. Okay, let's look at another example in the book. All right, let's look at this. Try it on page 465. This histogram shows the numbers of hours that students in a class slept last night. Maybe you would rather be sleeping than at an 8:30 class on Wednesday morning, but you're in math class, lucky you. So how many students slept at least 8 hours? Looking at this histogram, get your answer. The answer is 11. So at least 8 hours would mean 8 hours or more. So this is 8 people here and 3 people here because that's in between the 4 and the 2. So 8 plus 3 is 11. How many students slept less than 12 hours? Here's the 12 hours. That's that interval. So less than 12 hours, you're counting this, and this. So 8, 16 plus 2 is 18 is your answer there. Let's look at one more example. Okay, this is example 3 on page 466. The data displays show how many push-ups students in a class completed for a physical fitness test. Which data display can you use to find how many students are in the class? So you want to know an actual number in the class. So we have a histogram here and a circle graph or pie graph here. To find the total number, remember a histogram shows you those frequencies. A pie graph just compares it to the whole 100%. So you can use a histogram because it actually shows you the number of students in each interval. Here it shows you a percentage of each interval. So you can't use the circle graph because it actually doesn't show you the number of students in each interval. We just know a percentage, a part to whole relationship with a circle graph or pie graph. With this one, you can see, okay, there were 3 students that did 0 to 9 push-ups. 5 students did 10 to 19 push-ups. 10 students did 20 to 29. 6 students did 30 to 39, and 1 student did 40 to 49. So which data display can you use to find how many students are in the class? You would want to use a histogram because you can actually see the number of students in each interval. The pie chart only shows you the percentage in each interval. Which data display should you use to describe the portion of the entire class that completed 30 to 39 push-ups? Which data display should you use to describe the portion? So here you're looking for a part. You're looking for that part of the entire class compared to the entire class. So you would want to use the circle graph because that tells you the part, 24%. Here it would tell you a number, 6, but it doesn't tell you, what portion that is of the entire class. It just tells you 6 students. Well, that might be all the class. That might be half the class. You don't know. But here you can see that it's actually 24%. So you would use a circle graph here and get 24% to compare a part to a whole. Okay, this is our last example of this lesson. After we go through numbers 6 and 7, then you can complete the homework check. All right, so here the histogram shows the numbers of rebounds per game. So number of rebounds per game for a middle school basketball player in a season. So 0 to 1 rebounds per game, that happened in 3 games. So rebounds per game, this is the frequency. 2 to 3 rebounds happened in 6 games. 4 to 5 rebounds happened in 2 games. And 6 to 7 rebounds happened in 1 game. So which interval contains the most data values? Go ahead and pause and get your answer for A, B, and C, and then come back here and check. All right, so which interval contains the most data values is 2 to 3 rebounds, because that's the most. How many games did the player play during the season? Well, you would add 3 plus 6 is 9, plus 2 is 11, plus 1 is 12. So 12 games. And in what percent of the games did the player have 4 or more rebounds? 4 or more rebounds happened in 2 games here and 1 game here. So in 3 games. Well, it happened in 3 games out of 12. 3 out of 12, make that into a percent. If you remember, you could simplify it to 1/4. And then you remember that 1/4 is 25% as a fraction. Or you could put that equal to something over 100 and get 25% times 25 times 25. Number 7, determine whether you can make each statement by using the histogram in the previous exercise and explain. So go ahead and pause and get your answer for A and B, and then we'll check. So for A, can you determine whether you can make this statement using this histogram? The basketball player had 2 rebounds in 6 different games. So exactly 2 rebounds. Well, here's the interval of 2 to 3 rebounds happened in 6 games, but you cannot guarantee that it was 2 rebounds in 6 different games. So you would not be able to make that statement using this histogram. You could say the basketball player had 2 to 3 rebounds in 6 different games, yes, but exactly 2, no, because these are intervals. All right, B, the basketball player had more than 1 rebound in 9 different games. More than 1, so that's this column, this column, this column. Let's see how many. 6 games here, 2 games here, 1 game here, so that's 6 plus 2 plus 1 is 9. So the basketball player had more than 1 rebound in 9 different games. Yes, that's true. You can make that statement using this histogram. That's an accurate statement. Okay, at this time, hopefully you're familiar making a histogram and using a histogram to answer questions and using a frequency table to make a histogram. Go ahead and complete the homework check. Mr. Chine and I are on the Schoology conference if you have any questions. If you have any questions over any of the lessons so far, please email and schedule a time during our office hours on Friday. We will do a review video on Monday, and then you will have the whole class time on Wednesday, 8:30 to 10, to take your test. All right, thanks guys. Keep up the great work. We're really proud of you and appreciate all that you are doing. Keep it up.